We are looking at applique, which is just a fancy way of saying sewing layers of fabric on top of each other. Usually decorative, you use different shapes of fabric, different patterns if you like, and you create a picture. It's good for using up ends of fabrics. And here I have a denim shirt that I want to make over. I had thought about embroidering it. I really like the look of embroidery on denim, so I got a couple of denim shirts from a pre-worn website, but I never got around to embroidering on it. So my new idea now is applique, because I've come up with this piece of fabric. This was a swatch, an end given to me. I've not got the whole piece, unfortunately. You can tell someone's been at it before me. But what I do have is this really nice big flower in the middle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut round the flower. I might use some of the leaves as well that we've got. I might try and use this little flower here as well. I'm going to cut round it, and then I'm probably going to do an edging stitch. So I'm almost going to make a patch before I actually sew it onto my fabric. You can see this person has cut the edge, and it is fraying, but not actually that much. So what I need to do is just be careful and sew around the edge so it won't actually fray. You can do something called frayed edge applique, which if I was going to do, I would leave quite a large edge. Then when I'm sewing onto my jacket or shirt, I sew close to it, but I leave the edge to fray naturally, which might look quite nice. But this is such a pretty little flower, I think I want to keep it quite neat, which is saying something for me because I'm not the neatest of people. So I've found a thread which is a similar colour. You could pick out one of the colours, like the pink or this pinky purple here, or even a black if you wanted to, and edge it in that. But first of all, I'm going to cut out the shapes, and then we're going to see if we can make a pattern that I like out of them. Here are the pieces. I am going to cut closer, a lot closer, with some really small sharp scissors. But for the moment, while I'm trying to mess around with the design, I'm going to be handling it quite a lot, so I don't want it to fray too badly before I've even started sewing it down. I thought I might be able to use this part of the flower. I will get rid of this here and here. So this is the main flower. Could have a flower coming down here as well. Maybe, maybe not. Not sure. And we've got a small little flower here. I like the leaves on that flower, that looks good. And that might be quite cute, so I might not use this. But let's have a look at it on the denim fabric. I know I have a pocket here, and I wanted the main design on the opposite side. I think potentially we will get rid of this leaf here. I might bring it down here, but I might not use it. And here on the pocket, I might trim a little bit of the stalk. And go with something like that. We're going to have another look again once I've done the edging stitch. I think I'm going to do like a satin stitch. Could potentially do blanket stitch. or a whipped stitch, but I think satin stitch is quite easy. I quite like those leaves on there just without a flower. A little bit of a change of plan here. So as soon as I started embroidering around the edge of this leaf, it did start fraying, which is a bit of a shame because the test bit of cloth wasn't fraying at all, but I guess I wasn't sticking my needle in it. So I sewed it onto a piece of fabric, and essentially I've made patches now. You can see this one is quite scruffy because I was trying to save the edges, so I'm not sure that's going to work out too well. I might have to sew a little bit more around that one before cutting it out. Also, while I was sewing, I thought this would look really pretty with some padding in. I think I kind of forgot what I was actually making. So I hope I haven't over padded it, because this is going on the chest obviously. Might look a little bit weird. One side heavily padded, but never mind, I think it looks really pretty still. What I did with the extra flower and the extra leaf, I cut them short and then I attached them to the stem to make one picture. I've almost pretty much matched this brown thread here with my own thread, so you can see, if you look closely, where the joins are, but from a distance I think that looks fine. So the next step is to cut it out really closely and attach it to the denim shirt. I'm going to give it a wide berth first, because I'm scared, and then we'll get close. The stuffing I used was actually from an old duvet that I have on one side for any stuffing that needs to be done. I'm going to leave that one and just do a few extra stitches, I think. Although it might be alright when I've cut it out, let's see. Here is the finished shirt. We've got the leaf here on the pocket. Could have done with being just a little further up, but hey, I like it. It went on really well. And then the flower, here is the finished flower. Quite chunky. Some lessons were learned whilst doing this. Probably not as much padding next time, but I do like the fact that it is raised. It took a lot to make the finish as neat as I wanted, and even so there's the odd extra strand because the fabric was just fraying quite a lot, which is a real shame. But I think next time, because I have a different piece of fabric that I also want to put on a shirt, we'll try the frayed edge applique. I think we need to just work with the fabric we've got, so we'll just go with the fraying, but just make sure it's secure.